Hi everyone, and welcome to the second part of our session for reconciliations. Today we're going to be discussing the second approach on how to prepare a reconciliation using the append function and pivot tables. If you remember, last time we had a reconciliation between a nominal ledger and the AR subledger. Previous approach was to do lookups against both tables and using the merge functionality, but this time we're going to adopt a different approach. So in Excel, what we could usually do is to combine both reports into one big report. So we usually would use copy paste, copy one under the other, and then to add a source column. And by pivoting this, we would then obtain the differences between the two reports. So let's see how we would do this with Power Query. I'm here in Power Query, so I'm going to first reference the first GL table and then add a column, which I'm going to call it source. I'm going to say GL and then do the same for AR. If you've not seen my video around reference and duplicate, you can go back to the Power Query playlist and look it up. So now I've got the source and on both tables. So what I can do here is I can do an append, and I'll do as new. I don't want to change these tables, leave them as they are, so I'm going to append them in a new table. Now the append function is quite an interesting function. Before we actually do the append, let's explain a bit how it works and what the challenge is here. So the challenge is that we have three common columns. We have GL account, journal number, and amount in the GL table, and the AR table has GL account, some other columns, and then journal number, amount. The challenge here is that the common columns are not in the right order. Now, if you get this in Excel, what you have to do to put the tables one under the other, it's a lot of manual copy paste. Then you have to look for the right order of the columns. Imagine if you had like huge tables, 20 columns each, how much time would take you to fit the columns in the right order. So I like to take a moment and emphasize that append is a great functionality, and maybe you have that light bulb moment where you could use this, where you have to do a lot of copy paste. Let's go ahead here and append the queries. And because we started from the GL table, what's happened here is that these are the first three columns, they're common columns. Append knows they're common, so it's added the rows from the second table, and where it's got other columns that don't match, they're not common, it's added nulls for one of the tables where it doesn't find any match. But note that when append does this, the column names are case sensitive, so if you throw an additional space in there or a small letter instead of capital letter, it won't find an exact name match, so you will see it as a column that's not common, so be careful with that. Moving on with this example, we want to keep the additional columns because remember, one of the features was traceability, so you want to keep the full details. Now there is functionality in Power Query to pivot, but you can only pivot one column at a time. You cannot do pivots by two fields and so on. So instead what we're going to do, we're going to load this into Excel. So I'm going to rename this and call it again all rows from both tables with append, and then I'm going to load this into a new worksheet. Right, and then obviously I can insert a pivot table from here, and I can do the match by GL account, journal number, and then I've got my amount and my source, right? So then I can see, can remove the grand total and obviously prepare a difference here. So I can see what my reconciling items are. Compared with the previous merge functionality, I sometimes prefer this approach when I have to consolidate more than 2 reports, because I find it's quicker. This approach can also be used when consolidating multiple files, although Power Query has much better functionality to do that. Let me know about your preferred method down below in the comments, or if you see any other use cases. In any case, leave a like and follow me for the next episodes. If you have any suggestions, they are all welcomed. Thanks for watching.